We are joined by Feroz Aziz, Joint CEO of Anand Rathi Wealth. Feroz, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us on the show, as always. 6 international funds, all of them have reopened just in the last couple of weeks. Everyone wants to know, rupee, we've seen it hit those record lows, even today, around that 92 rupees a dollar. What should we be doing right now? Is it time to go global? Is it time to increase our exposure? Is it time to start investing here?
Good afternoon, Winnie. Like you rightly said, rupee is at 92, one of the lowest it could have been over the last several years, or it's been the highest ever in terms of dollar having been strengthened. When you look at these $7 billion limit, which has been there, and that's opened up because of rupee depreciation largely, not because of redemptions. So that's why in rupee terms, the value has actually had some headroom. So 6 funds have opened it. In my judgment, you can only use this in a staggered fashion. You should ideally only use this in a staggered fashion because rupee has a certain behavior. If you look at pattern of how a currency behaves, if you plot 25 years, today artificial intelligence is there for you to validate anything which I say, or a viewer to validate anything which I say. Look at all the last 25, 30 years of rupee vis-a-vis dollar kind of prices, and you will see one clear trend. That 3-4 years, rupee doesn't depreciate. And then you have 1 year where it depreciates, making up for all the 3-4 years of depreciation. Now, for example, if you look at 1st of April 2023, rupee was at 82, 83, right? And it didn't depreciate for the subsequent 2 years. And in the last 4-5 months, it depreciated by 8 rupees. So what am I trying to get to? Don't be in a hurry to buy an international fund, because an international fund does what? Once you put in money, it buys dollars and then spends 92 rupees to buy $1 and then invests in an already inflated market, which has been the US market, because 28 out of 70 international funds are US based. So I would not jump in just because the limit have opened. I would not buy dollars giving away 90 rupees because that's not a price which I would be very tempted to. Where rupee depreciation averages at 3% in a year where rupee has depreciated by 8%, or at least the financial year where rupee has depreciated by 8%, am I so tempted to buy an asset which has appreciated? S&Ps have appreciated, NASDAQ has appreciated. We are the globally one of the worst performing markets for this financial year. Your heart will say, don't buy India, but the mind should ideally say, buy India.
Take that point, Feroz. So, then as an investor who hasn't been able to invest in international funds earlier because of limits, and now those limits have reopened and they are tempted to buy some of these international funds, do you think they should still wait for some months before they go all out for international funds? How can one decide, okay, this is the time I should go about buying an international fund or putting my money here? That's the biggest talking point, because if not a dollar strengthening, then when?
So, Sonal, I was overhearing the conversation, the previous segment. Most of us are salaried employees. So you generally do an SIP. Do you have to wait to start an SIP? The answer is no. Because 10% gold and silver as a hedge, I was hearing Kushal say, needs some more impetus, because 10 can never hedge a 60. 10 can hedge a 10 even if there's a negative correlation of -1. That's when 10 can hedge 10. Not 10 can't hedge 60. So if you want to increase your hedge portion, then definitely international funds have a merit in one's portfolio if you understand what you're buying. Point 1. Point 2, can you do an SIP? Most of these funds have opened up for an SIP of 2 lakhs per month per PAN. So can you utilize that limit for a family member or a two? I think you should certainly do that. And 20 crore, 25 crore of us are salaried employees. So use the SIP route, and you don't have to look at all dollar prices and rupee prices for an SIP, because it's going to get staggered anyway. All what I said previously is irrelevant for an SIP investor.
Right, Feroz, point taken there. But to access global markets, now you have different options also, right? GIFT City, that's there as well. You have other methods to go about it. So as an investor, should one be looking at maybe GIFT City, LRS? Should one go by these mutual funds which have reopened? What is the best way or an easier way to avoid too much, or returns-wise as well?
I think simple is always very powerful in terms of making money. So I would say definitely an international fund, which is a feeder fund or even an independent fund, is a very good idea. LRS is too complex. Gift City, of course, you have to use the LRS limits to go to Gift City. If you use the LRS limits to go to Singapore or Dubai, you have to open a separate bank account, remit the money there. And of course, access has become so much easier in today's digital world. But does access mean efficiency? Absolutely not. I have seen several HNIs getting very excited that ये wealth manager मुझे सब कुछ का access दे देता है. Access से पैसे बन रहे होते तो क्या चाहिए था? Research से पैसे बनते हैं, decisive decision से पैसे बनते हैं, access से नहीं बनते. Like a pharmacy has, you can get a Cipla medicine, you can get a Ranbaxy medicine, you can get Sun Pharma medicine. That's access. Doesn't mean you will have all the 3 tablets of the same generic drug. So access doesn't produce efficiency. Simplicity has certainly done that. So to answer your question, I would definitely take the simplest route, and undoubtedly that's the feeder fund or a internationally investing Indian fund.
Okay, so you have simply stated that and explained it to us as well. So thank you for that access of your views. But Feroze, always a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much for joining in today. So you're not so gung-ho on international funds yet, at least at these levels when it comes to rupee. And those limits have opened up only because of rupee depreciation. It's not because people are redeeming more money. That's the crux of this conversation. Thank you so much for your thoughts today, Feroze.
Pleasure.